This is the CitizenLink Report.
If you find our insights helpful, would you support our video efforts? Your gift of $25 or more goes a long ways. Covers the crew, lights, cameras, all that. Just click on donate. Thanks from all of us.
Abortionist Kermit Gosnell is found guilty of first-degree murder, and 2 House committees ask state officials to help them investigate the abortion industry. This is the CitizenLink Report. Hi, I'm Kim Trobee, along with Carrie Gordon Earll, who looks at life issues for us here at CitizenLink. Hey, Carrie.
Hi, Kim.
Let's start with the Gosnell case, first of all. There were more than 250 charges brought against Philadelphia abortionist Kermit Gosnell. 4 of them had to do with the deaths of babies. He was found guilty of first-degree murder in 3 of those cases. He was also found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in the death of Carnamaya Monger. She was a woman who came to his facility for a late-term abortion. What does all that mean?
Well, as you look at this verdict, I think, Kim, most people would have been surprised if he had not been convicted. The grand jury report on this case, and I've been involved in the life issue for 30 years, was the most gruesome, graphic, horrific report. In fact, the grand jury called this a house of horrors. This was an incredible case, really pulling back the curtain, exposing what happens in the abortion industry. There is no joy in this verdict. The babies and the women who have died in this abortion center are still dead. There is no joy in this, but what there is the realization that state authorities in Pennsylvania had been charged by law to investigate this center, and they failed to do so for almost 20 years. So there is negligence here, there is murder here, there are unsanitary conditions. The list goes on and on. What's interesting is a Gallup poll just out found that only 1/4 of Americans were following this case. Now, some of that may have been because the media wasn't covering it very well and it's hard to get news you can't get. But my hope is that people were paying attention to this because it was such a horrific case. So we're thankful for the verdict, that there is some justice that's been done, but there's really no joy in this.
Carrie, the Gosnell case, a lot of people say is an aberration. Is it really an aberration?
It's hard to say. This is a man who was convicted of killing babies that were born alive after an abortion. That's about as barbaric as you can get. Most Americans are opposed to the late-term abortions. They're opposed to so-called partial birth abortions where the baby was already born. We have ongoing reports across the country, Kim, of abortion centers with reports of unsanitary conditions, of botched abortions, abortion deaths. Women are still dying in this country of legal abortion. So is he an anomaly? I don't think so. And my hope is that through this, state officials are going to be perked and peaked and paying attention, and that we will see some not only revelation, but hopefully some, I hate to say the word, but regulation of this industry. It's an unregulated industry, and too many women go there under the guise of choice and are victimized, and their children are killed. So I think this is a golden opportunity.
Now, this case heads into the sentencing phase, and Kermit Gosnell could face life imprisonment or the death penalty. Will this change the way some people feel about abortion in general?
I hope so, and I do think so. Of the limited media that has been done on this, there have been reporters who have said, hey, I was pro-choice coming in, now I'm seeing there's a problem here. We're not talking about imaginary lives. We're not talking about clumps of tissue. We're talking, in this case, about babies that were well past, in some cases, the 24 weeks at which late-term abortions are legal in Pennsylvania. Again, this grand jury report, I've got a pretty tough stomach, and it was hard. It was very hard to read, and I hope people will at least look at parts of it, because this is what does happen in the abortion industry. So I do think it's an opportunity for us to expose that in a positive way.
In the wake of this trial, 2 House committees now have asked state attorneys general and public health officials across the country to give them information on state laws and how abortion facilities are regulated. What will come of that?
Well, it's really exciting because these 2 committees, the leadership in these 2 committees have taken a bold step for life here. This is in direct response to the Gosnell case, and it's an opportunity for these 2 House committees. House Judiciary has sent a letter, as you said, to state attorneys general saying, hey, how are you prosecuting the laws in your state? How are you enforcing federal laws? We have a federal law, the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, that was signed into law by George W. Bush. And is that being enforced in your state. You have babies that are surviving abortion who are being killed like this. Then there's another House committee that is asking state health officials, tell us what your laws are. Are you supposed to be examining and inspecting these abortion centers, as was to be done in Pennsylvania and was not? So I think we're going to see some illuminating information come out of this. And again, there can be good that comes out of the darkness, and that's what we need to concentrate on here.
Carrie, are there penalties for states who are not following these laws? What might come of the investigation as far as penalties are concerned?
Well, that really will be up to the states themselves. If you have a law in your books that says you're supposed to be inspecting any freestanding medical clinic, not just abortion, and you're not doing it, then it's going to be up to the state legislators, to other watchdogs in that state to say, why aren't we doing it? One of the things the committees are asking is, how many complaints have you had in your state against the abortion industry? Let's see if we can get a handle on what's happening. It's the same thing with abortion reporting, Kim. Because it's not mandatory, the numbers we get are kind of meh. If they want to report, they do. If they don't, they won't. Well, it's really hard when you've got an issue that's this important, that's life and death, that so many women are being impacted by. We need better reporting, and we need to know what's going on in the states, and this is an opportunity to get it.
You mentioned media coverage earlier, and I think it's worth repeating that I believe ABC just broke 56 days of silence on the issue to report on the verdict. We got very little coverage from the mainstream media on this. How did that affect what people knew and when they knew it about this trial?
Well, absolutely. What the media covers reveals not only what they think is important, but it impacts the information that we can get. We've often said on this broadcast, we are so blessed to have technology, whether it is digital media or social media, where we can get the word out to people. We can bypass that mainstream media if we have to. And we do a lot of that here at CitizenLink and Focus on the Family. So absolutely, I think this was where the mainstream media really fell down on its job. The story was treated like a local crime story rather than really the gruesome, horrendous story that it was. But we have opportunity to continue to get the word out through broadcasts like this, and I'm glad we can do it.
Yeah, and a good opportunity to remind everyone that CitizenLink.com is a great place to get lots of information about what's going on in cases just like the Kermit Gosnell case. We would love to have you visit us at CitizenLink.com. Thanks, Carrie. You always have great information.
Thank you, Kim.
And thanks to everyone who communicates with us your thoughts and encouragement. You can always let us know what you're thinking. Just email us at mail@citizenlink.com. And of course, we encourage you to pray for your elected officials and for our nation. And remember, stand tall and be heard.